President-elect Trump rapidly rolls out his cabinet picks and policy agenda, White House reporters are apparently growing weary. One New York Times reporter saying, quote, everybody's exhausted as the press braces for a second Trump term. Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams and Samantha Dravis, a former George W. Bush White House staffer, join us now. Juan and Samantha, thanks for coming in on this. So the press corps is gearing up for round two with President Trump, and they are already exhausted. Listen to this quote from the New York Times political reporter Peter Baker. He says, anybody who went through it the last time remembers how nonstop it was. It ends up kind of becoming all-consuming and taking over your life. It wears you down. Okay, so Juan, let me ask you about that. No doubt it is a more busy schedule with President Trump, but is it also that under President Biden, you know, oftentimes the White House lid was called at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. People got used to kind of an easier schedule.
Well, it might be. You know, Anita, I think of covering President-elect Trump as kind of a nonstop Thanksgiving feast. I mean, it just doesn't stop. It's incredible. I mean, he has 1 a.m., 2 a.m. tweets that go out, and you have to wake up and cover that. But, you know, the part of it that always strikes me is just yesterday, an ordinary Thanksgiving message from the president-elect. You would think, hey, that's no news. Instead, he goes after the radical left lunatics, and it's a news story, right? That's President-elect Trump. And it's like a reality TV show. He never stops. He always has something to say. And with the press, it's not only that he keeps them busy, but he attacks them. The incoming press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, has said she may push some of the mainstream reporters like the New York Times out of the White House press room and bring in people who are podcasters and have a different circle of influence, more in line with President Trump.
Yeah, they may shuffle the deck there in the White House briefing room. That is going to be interesting. Samantha, the press corps, though, in general, is seasoned now when dealing with President Trump. So how do you think they'll approach it this time around? No doubt they're going to be working longer hours.
Well, it doesn't seem like they've changed much since their first approach and their first go-round, which is a relentless pursuit, not of the truth, but of Donald Trump. And if they're exhausted, I think the American people, Anita, are just so sick of the media acting like they're doing such an exhausting public service, writing hit pieces on Donald Trump and his staff all day, using anonymous sources, writing pieces that are missing context, in many cases have proven to be totally false. And I think that this press corps now needs to focus on being objective journalists pursuing the truth and not activists trying to get Donald Trump. I think that's why you're seeing Trump and his staff look to shake up the briefing room, bring in some folks that have millions of listeners and viewers, but who are not so hostile to them.
Yeah. Well, you know, and when it comes to the Democratic Party, just changing the topic here, still trying to figure out, you know, what happened on Election Day. I want to take a listen to Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania as he gives his thoughts. Let's listen to that.
There is a deeper cultural problem with the left and with the Democratic Party. And it's a party of wokeness and it's a party of moral condescension. They have said to people, if you disagree with us on open borders, then you're a bad person. And what that has done is it has caused the left to shut its ears and to stop listening to people. It helps them achieve social status amongst fellow progressives, but it has made them a lot more tuned out to what the country is saying, and it has made them ineffective.
Okay, I apologize. That was Julian Epstein, not Senator John Fetterman. But Juan, let's deal with what he's saying. Is there any truth in what he's saying, in your opinion? And are Democrats thinking about these messages going out to their base?
Well, right now, I think the Democratic Party, is sort of disappointed and despairing. They don't have a lot of energy. But, from their perspective, from the Democratic perspective, it's not about, like, clutching your pearls and worrying. It's hair on fire, Anita. They look at the prospect of tariffs driving up prices, mass deportation, the cabinet nominees, you know, one of whom's already been pushed out over a sex scandal, and they're like, oh, my God. So they don't know what to do. But I think Julian's point is very much to be taken to heart, which is you've got to be doing more than just despairing. You've got to start getting active and think about how you can reach out to American voters effectively for the 26 midterms, because right now, with President-elect Trump in office, the potential there is for the Democrats to just walk away and never be a factor again.
Mm-hmm. Well, quick thought on that, Samantha, and then I want to listen to Senator John Fetterman.
Yeah, I mean, I think the party lost a lot of credibility this year, focusing on saying Trump is a threat to democracy, he's a dictator, and instead of having a policy agenda that actually appealed to voters when voters were saying, hey, we're not happy with how the last 4 years have gone. And so I think if Democrats want to win in 26 and 2028, they're going to have to regroup on the policy and not be so beholden to the progressive leftists who are really, too focused on identity politics and not offending anybody. They need to show that they can work with Republicans, frankly, in the next couple of years to solve some of these problems.
Yeah, and on that note, let's go ahead and listen to Senator John Fetterman. He has some advice for Democrats out there. Take a listen to this. Sorry, this is, I'm going to read what he says. He says, we're not even at Thanksgiving. Sorry about that. We're not even at Thanksgiving. And Democrats just can't stop losing their minds every 15 minutes. We really need to pace ourselves. Realize that this is how elections go. At least for the next 2 years, they're going to have the opportunity to write the narrative and drive the narrative. If you freak out on everything, you lose any kind of relevance. Juan, do you think that there's some truth in that? And should Democrats listen to him?
Yeah, well, look, you got to not only listen, I think you can learn. Obviously, he had some success with the voters in this election, and he did so with a populist message. I mean, there's lots of, reaching out to, we're just talking about the press, Anita, reaching out to sort of unorthodox platforms that had some impact. He really appealed to those young white men. Democrats have to do a better job with the populist message to the blue-collar white men in America.
Yeah. Okay, quick thought, just to wrap it up for us, Samantha. Did you ever think you'd hear that message from John Fetterman, and do you agree with him?
It's definitely surprising. He's turned out to be sort of the voice of reason in the Democrat Party, and I really appreciate it. And I think he's right. I think this is a party that needs to regroup, reset. The freaking out, so to speak, is not productive. They need to take the L, as they say, get a policy agenda that appeals to the American voters, and go forward.
Well, we will see what happens, but one thing is for sure, it will be a busy 4 years ahead. Juan Williams and Samantha Dravis, thanks so much.